Hi everyone, my name is Kanika Kush, and this is the third book that I'll be bringing to you in the series that I'm doing, Bringing Books to You. This book is going to be J.Krishnamurti's Book of Life, a book that helped me in the toughest times last year and literally allowed me to pass through them. And obviously, I learned a lot, and I owe a lot to the man, and whatever he brought to the world. For those of you who don't know J.Krishnamurti, he was an Indian philosopher, a world teacher, and there's a lot of history about him. There are 365 daily meditations that are there in this book, but obviously I can't speak about all. I'll speak about a select few that really spoke to me. Actually, everything did, but somehow these, I think there are 14 or 15 that I will discuss, are the ones that I really wanted to talk about because they probably, resonated with me the most. So I hope that you get convinced enough to go pick up the book because this one I would really urge all of you to pick up. Yeah, it'll do a lot of good. So please continue and watch the video and do let me know if it had a positive impact on you. The first one that I would bring to you is January 23rd, where he says that self knowledge is a process. He speaks about how self knowledge is not found in isolation. This is so important, and I also agree with him because it's very easy to escape everything and go to a mountain and not really, look after what you have to in this world, right? Because all of us are existing in relationship with something or somebody at any given point in time. So imagine having to learn about yourself in that scenario instead of escaping from it. So self knowledge is a process, is what he says, and this is something that I have been trying to follow, and because I think all of us, when we are met with the tough times, we want to like isolate ourselves, and not saying that we don't isolate ourselves, but the point is that how we want to just escape everything, drop everything, leave everything, and then think that peace will come or knowledge will come. What he says is, no, that's not how it comes. It is more in relationship with our environment, the people around us, the interactions. So it is a process. The next one is on January 28th. So the first entire month is about knowledge, about self knowledge. That's how he's done this. Okay. So in this, he says that this is self knowing. I just spoke about self knowledge as a process. Now he says self knowing. Now, this is typically something that people who meditate, and I am getting to that place, where you're just observing your thoughts. It's very tough then to not associate action with them, and action not of physical but of even mental. Like sometimes, even when you're meditating or you're thinking something and thoughts are going, then we tend to, immediately attach an action to it, that, oh yeah, no, I must not even think this, or oh, I have to do that, or I must do this. So that's an action that is associated immediately. Whereas he's saying self knowing, knowing, it's a present continuous verb. So he says that self knowing is thought aa raha hai aur ja raha hai, and you kind of like try to resist the urge to not attach an action to it. It's damn tough. It's damn tough. Because you'll always be like, oh yeah, no, I shouldn't, I must not, But sometimes it's like, okay, especially with the negative ones. Have you noticed the negative thoughts will come and you're like, no, I must not think this. This has taken me about 4 to 5 years, where at least I would say, let's say if 10 thoughts come, 3 of them I don't attach action to. I'm like, okay, there's a thought that's coming. Okay. It's very tough because some of them are like nightmarish. They're very nightmarish. But that's what he's saying. This is self knowing. There's a little secret to the next one. I did not even realize this, but when I was making my notes to say this or bring this particular chapter to you, I just realized something. So this is February 15th, and which is direct observation. And before I tell you what it means, last year I got this tattoo which says, it is what it is, right? I'm trying to practice that. By this, I basically mean that it is what it is, like, instead of saying, let's face the fact. So let's face the fact. So there is like an action that is impending, which is not, it is what it is, So let me just explain. What he's saying is, that ideas take root in our minds. We have too many ideas, right? And we keep on spending our entire life, including myself, all of us, we are spending our life in ideas that fir ye hoga, fir wo hoga. It's crazy. So much energy spent there. I'm not talking about ideas in terms of execution or work wise. I'm also talking about emotions, like something has happened and you think, oh yeah, if that would have happened, if I could do this, then that could happen. What he's saying is that instead of trying to get to a place where you will face the fact, you know that this has happened. You now have to face it. So it is still in the future. It might be immediate future, but it's still in the future, right? Whereas he's saying you just live with the fact. Because if you live with the fact, then all the energy that you're going to waste in ideating or thinking about facing the fact gets dissipated, and you literally live in the present. This one's a tough one to understand, but in a lot of moments in my life in the past 2 3 years, I started to practice this. That, yeah, okay, and immediately I feel like all the burden, no, it just kind of just disappears, because so much energy is being used, invisible mental energy, which we can't really quantify. So this is brilliant. So basically, how they say ki chinta mat karo, why are you worrying? It's true. Like, something has happened, ho gaya, okay. So you don't think. Even worrying is ideating, no? It is very tough. But if we could do this even for like 2 3 thoughts in a day, or even 5 6 minutes in a day, oh man, so much energy can be preserved for better things. This next one is one of my favorites. It's on February 3rd, which says, can the crude mind become sensitive? Basically, can some thought, some trait become something else? And this, I'm happy to tell you that I have practiced this a lot. After I read it, after I understood that, okay, what does this mean? Because there are so many traits in us where we realize that, okay, this trait is not going to work. So I need to change this. Now, all my life, I've also tried to change a trait. So let's say it was X, then I want to make it Y, right? Like, for example, let's say if I feel that I'm very sensitive, then I want to kind of become a little more hardened. That's been my endeavor for life, being an HSP, right? But when I applied this, now what he says is that he says he gives an example of a stupid mind, okay, who wants to become intelligent. So he's like, let's say you have a stupid mind and you want to become intelligent, or you feel that you're stupid and you want to become intelligent, then that act in itself is stupid. Fun, no? So he says, look, if you feel that you're stupid and you're trying to get to an intelligent place, then that is stupidity. Whereas if you feel you're stupid, and when you're being stupid, now this is the point, when you see that you are being stupid, when you observe that, oh, this is how I play out my stupidity, you become intelligent. So basically, I think what he's saying is that whatever we want to change, or we feel like, before getting there, that existing trait, if we look at, for example, me being sensitive and wanting to be a little tougher with my feelings, will not come by trying to be tougher, will come by observing when I'm being sensitive. Just in just the observation lies the change. I think that's what he means. The next one is on March 7th, and that says, to exploit is to be exploited. Now, I will take your attention to this song by Eurythmics, okay? Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, of these. And there's also like a very heavy metal version of it by Marilyn Manson, same version, and I love that song, okay? It's Sweet Dreams Are Made of These. I'm sure all of you heard. Everybody's out there to use you, or you get used, or abuse and get abused. So don't take it in the wrong sense. All of us are here to either exploit or be exploited, use or be used. And I kind of got the connection with what he's saying. It kind of made a connection in my head, okay? That to exploit is to be exploited. But he goes further to say that, let's say I'm the exploiter. Let's say I'm exploiting you. I need you so that I can exploit you. So in a way, am I not giving my power to you? Because if you're not there, how will I exploit you? So who is more powerful out of the two of us? The person who's exploited. It is very deep. I remember putting this post up sometime last year on Facebook, and I did get a lot of question marks, that what does this mean? But I get it. I get this. Exploited अगर नहीं होगा, तो exploiter exploited को exploit कैसे करेगा? तो power किसके हाथ में है? जो exploit हो रहा है, not जो exploit कर रहा है. The next one is on March 10th, and it says, face the fact and see what happens. Here I would like to take recourse to my personal journey last year, when I was going through something called the inner child therapy. And there was this one day where I felt emptiness of a level of a magnitude that I can't even describe. I was going into myself. I was falling, and I had called my guide and my mentor that time and said that this is how I'm feeling. I don't know where am I falling into. And it was just as if I'm going into myself. Okay, it was just, I cannot explain that feeling. And by then I had also practiced enough of sitting with my emotions. But that day I wanted to run, like run. And I remember my mentor telling me, Kanika, just sit with it. Just sit with it. And I remember becoming it. I did. And that's when you become it, then you float. And when you don't become it, then you want to do something to distract yourself from that feeling. Things like loneliness, emptiness. If you become one with them, you become loneliness. And then somehow that want or that desire to run away from it or distract yourself from it and not really face it for what it is doesn't happen. Whereas if you do it and you become it, then you are it, you know. And I can't tell you how liberating that feeling is. I did experience it last year. And that could have been one of the key moments of my crossover from one place to another. It was a key moment, one of the key moments of my life, but a very significant one. We are moving to April. This is on April 3rd, and he says that desire has to be understood. This is very interesting, especially for people who are, really big fans of meditation and who are meditating on a daily basis and are on their spiritual journey, you know. Because a lot of times we hear the following sentence that one should not desire anything, one must not desire anything. What J. Krishnamurti says is that desire is to be understood. So let's forget ourselves for a moment that I desire a car, I desire money, I desire fitness, I desire meaning, I desire love, whatever it is, right? For a moment, let's forget human beings. This is my viewpoint. I'm saying let's look at trees, let's look at fruits, let's look at animals. Don't they also have a desire to become themselves? Isn't life in itself a desire to be itself? So I think if we understand that, I think most of us, what all these gurus and very wise people are trying to tell us is maybe we want to detach from desire, wherein we take actions which could be harmful for us. Like getting too greedy or too lazy or whatever else comes with it. I think that's what the point is. But to understand desire, I desire this. Like, I know for a fact that I want to become the best version of myself. Now, isn't that a desire? The moment you say want, there is a desire. तो वो नहीं हो तो then तो we are, I don't know what we are not even vegetables also have a desire, so what are we then? We are not even rocks. I don't know the word for it. So that's what he's saying, that understand desire. Don't run away or say that you must not have desire. I think what he means is understand it, and then see what you have to do with it. But the moment you understand it, maybe the overdoing of things may be reduced. He talks about sex. This is very deep, okay? He says, why is the world centered on sex, on the act of sex? He says that is because in that moment when you're engaging in sex with somebody, at that moment is the only moment when there is self-abnegation, or you've forgotten yourself. There is no self, right? So, or at a very, very deeply conscious level, what he's saying is that all individuals on this planet actually are heading towards a place of bliss or joy where there is no me. Isn't that where what we hear anyways everywhere? That when you become one with the universe is the ultimate bliss, ultimate joy. In sex, that's what happens. Even if it's for a few moments. That is why all this hoo-halla around sex. So he says, whereas outside, the moment you're outside it, there's always conflict. You're always in conflict, whether with your own thoughts or with your things around you, the atmosphere around you, the circumstances, the people. I mean, there's always like a strengthening of me. Even if you don't talk about from the place of ego, what we are doing is that, okay, am I right? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? It's about me. What am I doing? Right? Think about this. Whereas in that act of sex, you actually forget yourself. And that is why the whole world is so obsessed with it. If you think a little deeper. We are in May now, and on May 13th, and he says, do not name a feeling. Now, I of course have contrary views on this one, but which is why I'm bringing it to you. So as a counselor, I know that especially with my teenage coaches, I have to tell them to name a feeling so that they can feel it better. But what J. Krishnamurti is saying, that why do we have to name it? And he gives the example of a flower or a person or a group of people. He says, let's say there is a group of people that we don't name, that they are Indians or they are Australians or they are this sect or they are that caste, whatever. Okay, if you don't do that, then don't you look at them from a new perspective. You don't have prejudices. Right. Similarly, for a flower, let's say there's a flower in your hand, don't have a name for it, then won't you just look at the flower for what it is? This is where I agree with him, because Okay, this is a little secret. I don't try and learn the names of flowers. I go out for my morning walk pretty much regularly in the week, and there are these all types of flowers, in our garden down in our society. And I try not to even try to get to know their names because I do practice this bit for the flowers. But somehow I'm not being able to do it with my clients, because I do tell them to name the feeling. But maybe this is something that I can take up from him, that, okay, what if you don't name the feeling? Then maybe you look at it very objectively, very new, that, okay, what is this? Or, okay, it's there. we can let it go. Am I making sense? So this one, yeah, kind of did that with my brain. This one was rock star, May 14th, rock star. Remain with the feeling and see what happens. This one I can tell you with so much of conviction that up till last year, before I started this book and even my entire journey, where I've been really like self educating and self knowing and getting into self awareness and all of that, I would like the rest of us escape from all my feelings, because एक तो feelings भी इतनी सारी है ना, इतने sensitive हो तुम कि भैया कितनी feelings है जिंदगी में, right? So, but when he said remain with the feeling and see what happens, and now I now name them, and they are guests in my house when the feelings come, especially the ones that we call negative feelings of hate, jealousy, revenge, contempt, resentment, anger. When they come, I'm like, oh man, आ जाओ चलो अभी बैठते हैं सब चाय पीते हैं. समोसे वमोसे का टाइम नहीं है, ठीक है, लेकिन चलो चाय पीते हैं. नो, आई एम जस्ट किडिंग. समोसे भी खिलाते हैं हम. We do all of that. They sit, they take their time, and then they leave. And then I realize that none of them are my composition of who I am or whatever there is inside. They don't constitute. They just come and go. Now, how long they'll stay and how you will react to them or respond to them is a separate matter. But the point is that they will come and go. They will come and go. They will come and go. So it's all good. Sit with them. Just sit and see what happens. We move to the next month now. Creative energy. This, he says, that what is creative energy really? So he says, like a lot of people will say that we landed on the moon, or how creative, or we created this gadget, or we created this, that, or in business ideas and stuff. He says that's not creative energy. If you are aware of something that you're making, that's not creative energy. Creative energy is when it's spontaneous and comes out of nowhere. And this, I believe, and I think I can say with a lot of conviction for other artists as well, the true artists. I'm talking about artists who just create, like what comes to their mind, just for the sake of creating without thinking. I think that's what he's talking about, creative energy. That कहाँ से निकला ये? कहाँ से निकला? Like, what's going on? And can you actually claim it? Is it yours or did it come from somewhere? He says that anything which is not a thought and comes out is creative energy, which is not being thought about earlier. And in fact, one of his pages, I don't remember when, it was his stuff only, which also, this is a little extra one for this one. He said how logic is stagnant. So people who go on harping on logic, which are too many in the world, that one must always use logic, which is fair. Logic should be used for activities that require decisions in day to day, in material things, like suppose कुछ खरीदना है या क्या है, वहाँ लॉजिक लगा दो कि इससे बेटर है, उससे बेटर है, whatever. वहाँ पर borrowed thought may not be such a bad idea. But not about life decisions, not about what you want to do in your life or be in your life. So he says that logic is stagnant because you are already working with knowledge that exists, isn't it? That like when we do a pro and con, you already know, na? कुछ नया तो हो नहीं रहा. Whereas people who work with creativity or even emotions, they go a step further. They go into a space of uncertainty. And in us, uncertainty lies creativity. Is it making sense how it circles around? This was brilliant. Yeah, this one blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is like kick-ass. Next up, he speaks about impermanence. This had to come in, yaar. I've done Vipassana and this kind of like a whole circle. He says that in Vipassana we had learned anicca, everything is impermanent. In fact, I recently just made a video somewhere, I don't remember where I also said the same thing. That was about fitness, I think, that our weight and our fitness levels, nothing will stay the same. Nothing. So to say to somebody, "Arey yaar, you've changed," or "Oh man, this is not the same," is something that we need to kind of understand that that's not how it is. Everything is changing. We are changing. Our cells are dying every day and we are being born every day. Instead of looking at it as a negative thing, I feel we can actually look at it as super positive thing. That every moment we are given opportunities to just carve out a new reality completely, till we die. And in fact, when we die too, उसके बाद भी तो पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है. मतलब हम तो सोचते हैं कि जी हमारी दुनिया ही ख़त्म हो जाएगी, वो तो हम सोच रहे हैं. But everything is impermanent, yet everything just keeps changing form and still stays in the universe, in the whole conservation of energy wala jo law hai. This is very interesting, no? Very interesting. This is that knowledge is not wisdom. And I love this one, the next one. It says intelligence is higher than intellect. We tend to misunderstand this, especially like as a mother, I'm saying, for children. Thankfully, I don't do that with my son because ye sab samajh aa gaya tha mujhe kafi pehle. By the way, I have to tell you that this book that I read of J. Krishnamurti's, barring of course a lot of new concepts, and I was like, wow, this is such a fun way to look at the world. And I'm not kidding you, I did feel that, okay, thank God, finally somebody's kind of agreeing to my thought process, because I've always felt a little out of place in this world. I'll be honest with you. Okay, I've always felt like कि कहाँ से thoughts आ रहे, क्या हो रहा है ये, why do I think like this, why can't I be normal? So this was like a validation, this book, to a very large degree, so thank God. But yeah, so coming back to the point, knowing things or being smart at things is being an intellectual person, like information, being informed, being well informed, which is not a bad thing, but that's not intelligence. Intelligence is wisdom. Intelligence is knowing things, like knowing above on the meta level, looking at things, observing, analyzing, seeing from a different perspective. That's intelligence, is what he says. So basically, knowledge is not wisdom. I think according to him, intelligence is. They could be interchangeable. Goes on to talk about a mind that is learning. So, we keep hearing people say that, wow, sir, at this age you are doing this. Again, this is something that I used to find quite ridiculous when I was small, very, very tiny. Like when I was 6 or 7, I remember somebody had finished their PhD at 80 or 90 years old. Some of my grandparents' friends. And that time also, I remember thinking, yeah, so, I mean, does the brain have like an expiry date or what? That after that, सोचना बंद हो जाएगा. तब भी मैंने सोचा था ये. मैं बता रही हूँ यार, मेरे को ना that time also I used to feel, when I used to say stuff ना, people would be like, what are you talking? Concentrate on your studies. So, but look, he's saying that. I mean, does the brain come with an expiry or what? कि जी अच्छा, अब आप 30 साल के हो गए हो, अब आपको अभी लर्न नहीं करना है, so कि अब मैंने ज़िंदगी देख ली है, अब हम इतनी उम्र में आके कुछ लर्न करने को बचा नहीं है. So I तो want to stay away from such people, भैया. Till the day that my cognitive abilities are there, I want to keep learning. Keep learning मतलब मुझे तो लग रहा है बहुत कम टाइम है यार, और बहुत लर्न करना है. So towards the last bit, the last month, he speaks about meditation and what it really means. So I will combine 3-4 chapters here. Okay, this is really fun. I mean, this is something that I'm trying to practice on a daily basis, and a lot of times I succeed as well. First, he says, meditation is all about dying and living all the time, which basically means what? That let's say today I've woken up. So today, whatever day and date it is, we are in October 2024. Let's say I woke up and there is a concept of myself that I have, and I sit down to meditate. Can I allow that concept to die and then move into a new reality? Now, naturally, once the meditation is over, then we have the world to kind of engage with, right? Do I then immediately come back to what I let go in the meditation, or am I again adapting to it? That's what he's talking about. In which he says something which I also harp on all the time, and I anyways practice it. It's been years of writing. Because as he says, and I agree, is that the moment you start writing, what happens is that the thoughts that are circling in your mind are placed on paper. Therefore, they become separate from you. The moment they become separate from you, then they become a different identity. And then you look at them as an observer, as a thing that you have to deal with or not. But once they are here inside your head, they just keep circling. And then because there's so many thoughts, there are a gazillion thoughts, and there's so many memories, and there's so many feelings. So all of that is a khichdi. It's like a khichdi pakoing. So then how are you responding? What is happening? Even we don't know. And therefore he says that meditation is the start of self-awareness, is the start of meditation. Isn't that fun? The more self-aware you start to get, you go inside, you keep going inside yourself. And that is one of the aspects of meditation. Therefore, he says writing is such an important thing. The more you write, the more you are bringing yourself out and learning more about yourself. And again, this all has to be done without attachment. Attachment meaning it's not like something negative comes out, then you detach and say, oh yeah, okay, fine, yeah, whatever, I don't do this, it's all good. No, it comes out and then you look at it, oh, this is something that I display. All right, how can I work on this? That's called self-awareness. Then there's also action that you take to then maybe see progressively, have you moved ahead? If you've moved ahead, what does that mean? It is exactly what I said at the start of this chapter, that means you've let go, or that thing is dead. It's died in the most beautiful way. It's died, no? So there's a new version of you that has come out. Isn't that amazing? So he ends with the whole chapters on meditation, and this is where I end. And but I have to say this, that it is towards the end, where I mean, I've been meditating, and this was last year that I was reading J. Krishnamurti's Book of Life. It took me the whole year. I took my time with it, and it helped me heal. It helped in my healing journey. It also strengthened my meditation practice a lot, a lot. Because एक तो होता है कि आप भाग रहे हो, एक होता है कि एक कोच आ जाए जो आपको सिखाए भागना कैसे है, एक होता है कि एक गाइड या मेंटर आ जाए जो आपको रास्ता भी दिखा दे कि भागना कहाँ है, और एक आपका खुद का सेल्फ आ जाए जो बताए कि भागना ऐसे है, इस पाथ पे है, और आपको जाना उधर है. So that's what happened with me when I read J. Krishnamurti. And I do owe his thoughts and his life's work a lot. And wherever he is, I hope he's also listening to this. This is kind of dedication to him. And I would definitely urge all of you to pick up J. Krishnamurti's book and just keep it. Just keep it. बहुत ठंडक आएगी, बहुत, वही बोल सकती हूँ, ठंडक, ठहराव, राहत, ये सारी चीज़ें आएंगी जब आप पढ़ोगे, if you can. बाकी I hope that this video helped you. Again, please apologies if I have misunderstood and misspoken. That is never my intent. बहुत दिल से मैंने बोला है. But still, if I said something which is not what he meant, I apologize in advance, and I'm also ready to take it back. But I hope this helped somebody out there, and I will see you soon with the next book. Bye.